Welcome to the President's Diary, where we take a look at His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali's week of activities. Dr. Ali's week began with an official visit from the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, and his 18-member delegation. Dr. Bawumia arrived at the Chedijagan International Airport and was welcomed by the Honorable Prime Minister, Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips. The head of state and First Lady Mrs. Arya Ali on Sunday evening hosted an official dinner for the Vice President and his delegation at State House. Members of cabinet, other high-level government officials, members of the diplomatic community, and the local private sector attended the event as well. His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali has a strong vision for a highly prosperous, sustainable economy 20 years down the line. This he related to academics during Harvard University's virtual faculty workshop on the microeconomics of competitiveness on Monday.
I see a country that is highly sustainable, prosperous, one in which there is a very minimal inequality and disparity among people, one in which our people have first-class access to healthcare services, first-world access to healthcare services, first-world access to educational services, where our people are meaningfully occupied, we're highly educated and qualified, a human resource base.
The president also shared an ambitious vision for Guyana's economy and the government's political and economic diplomacy later down the line.
Our economy is diversified and portfolio is wide enough to withstand global shocks, and we play an important role in the regional system, whether it's food system, health services, educational services, but importantly, that we are a responsible partner to global development, a transparent partner in global development, and a country that provides a framework for opportunities for global investors.
The president was adamant that though Guyana will use the oil industry to improve the lives of citizens, the economy will be built to be diverse and resilient against global economic shocks. Dr. Jorge Ramirez Vallejo, a member of the Harvard Business School faculty, remarked that President Ali's work of guiding Guyana on a sustainable development path is inspiring. During his Harvard address, the head of state also said that an essential and indispensable element of his government's agenda to transform Guyana is building a more equitable society.
Every Guyanese person, irrespective of the region in which they live, irrespective of their ethnic or religious background, would have an equal opportunity and stake in the development of our country and resulting to prosperity. And how are we doing this? One, by rolling out universal access to world-class education as a centerpiece of personal empowerment. So we have identified education as a centerpiece of personal empowerment.
The president outlined that this means Guyanese will have access to quality nursery, primary, secondary, and before the end of his first 5 years in office, tertiary education as well.
The power of education as a means of personal upliftment and empowerment. Universal access to primary and secondary education. Supporting attendance at school by children through a free uniform program, a free feeding program for at-risk students, transportation allowance. All of these are benefits the government is giving to ensure not only 100% primary and secondary universal access to primary and secondary education, but to ensure attendance at school are not barred by issues of hunger, cost of transportation, access to school uniform. The government is providing this. Improvement in equality to eliminate disparities in regional education and to ensure that there is no gap between urban and regional education delivery. In many developing countries, the experience is there is a marked difference in the quality of education from rural areas and urban areas. And our strategy is targeted at removing that gap and ensuring there is parity in the quality of education that is delivered.
Dr. Ali also outlined to Harvard that his reform agenda for the regulatory framework of the petroleum sector is meant to ensure transparency and accountability as its guiding principles.
The key initiatives for managing the sector are, and we are presently in the process of tabling a lot of these before the National Assembly, a draft local content policy and bill, establishment of a natural resource fund, building local content for auditing, revising fiscal management of the petroleum sector, establishment of accountability and transparency framework.
The president said these areas are important to ensure the sector is competitive and creates more opportunities for locals.
The results of this is to have the resources from oil and gas enhance our traditional economy and create the pathway in which we'll build sustainable, new, diversified sectors that will bring in long-term revenue and prosperity for the people of our country.
The head of state emphasized that the multifaceted nature of Guyana's economy and the pace at which it is growing require the institutions of the state to modernize. His Excellency noted that his government remains steadfast in ensuring that Guyana would soon boast a self-sufficient food industry.
We are investing in the infrastructure to support our farmers. We are helping them with their capital investment to create and increase production and productivity. We are building farm-to-market access roads. We are doing agro-processing plants in farming communities themselves, reducing the cost of moving raw material.
President Ali has underscored the importance of Guyana acquiring international food standards in its quest to perform effectively in the international market.
We are ensuring that we have adequate and stable power and water supply to support agro-processing and smart agriculture. We are looking at clear and credible quality and safety standards. This is important.
He noted the importance of having certified and adequate laboratory facilities, even as government seeks to improve its agricultural, health, food and safety, and traceability services.
We are also focusing on using science and technology, innovation to produce more high-valued crops, many of which are imported.
The government's holistic aim is to transform the subsectors within the food industry to a standard that ensures food security, and Guyana being a dominant player in the CARICOM market. Government will continue to make tremendous contributions to CARICOM's food market by reducing the region's food import bill by 25% by 2025 through food substitution and increased production. Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali and Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Baumia, have agreed to remove bureaucratic red tapes that hinder enhanced private sector engagement between the two countries. The President and Ghanaian Vice President made these remarks at the official meeting between the delegations of government and private sector representatives from Ghana held at the Artichon Conference Center on Monday.
From the level of the government, both governments, this is a clear direction that both governments has agreed that the private sector of the two countries will be the engine that will drive the process forward. This morning, high-level representation is to send the signal that red tapes and bureaucracy will be removed in the process of reaching business opportunities. And this is an important part of this engagement. Both governments has agreed to make the functionaries of government and the system of government accessible to the private sector of both countries.
The head of state indicated that Dr. Baumia and Vice President Dr. Bar Jagdeo will work on a framework agreement that examines how engagements, which includes shared prosperity and common outlook, are made.
It is not only about an opportunity that exists in Guyana or the opportunities that exist in Ghana. It is how do we combine the power of the twin opportunity to become a dynamic and major player.
Meanwhile, Vice President Bawumia, who also delivered remarks at the meeting, expressed Ghana's intention to improve bilateral relations with Guyana.
It is our expectation, therefore, that the private sector, through an innovative approach, would partner with government to create sustainable growth by focusing on the pillars of development for economic prosperity.
The Ghanaian Vice President added that there is a memorandum of understanding between the Guyana Office for Investment and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center to train agencies in Ghana to provide services for Guyanese investors and to assist prospective Guyanese investors with specific information, especially relating to key sectors. Additionally, he pointed out that the Ministry of Trade and Industry in Ghana will liaise with its local counterparts to establish a Ghana-Guyana Chamber of Commerce. His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali on Tuesday stated that he intends on strengthening Guyana's diplomatic relations with Spain and the Netherlands. The President reiterated this at the Office of the President's formal ceremonies for the presentations of letters of credence to the head of state by the non-resident ambassadors of both the Netherlands and Spain. President Ali said both countries share priorities that has led policies in the fields of health, security, oil and gas, and agriculture. As such, His Excellency noted that Guyana looks forward to advancing cooperation in a number of areas.
I want to assure you that the air services agreement you refer to will be completed between our two countries. I further wish to assure you that the experience of the Kingdom of Netherlands and Dutch engineering in water management and sea defenses is of course a known fact to us, and we're looking forward to further collaboration and strengthening of partnership in these areas.
While addressing Ambassador Fernando Nogales Oliveras of Spain, the head of state highlighted contributions the country has made towards Guyana's development, such as the Hinterland Rice and Bean Project, which allowed Guyana to advance its agricultural policy agenda in the hinterland region.
Guyana commits itself to revitalizing relations with Spain, and your accreditation will continue to deepen the relations between our two countries. We look forward to increased cooperation in areas of mutual interest, including agriculture, climate change, technology, tourism, and investment.
Guyana established diplomatic relations with Spain and the Netherlands on May 15, 1970 and October 12, 1979, respectively. President Ali says his government is aiming to make Guyana an eco-destination powerhouse. During his feature address at the Guyana Tourism Awards Gala at Park Green Rahamans Park in Houston, East Bank of Demerara on Wednesday evening, the president said this vision of Guyana is very clear to the government and will be complemented by the level of visibility that the oil and gas sector has brought to the country.
Our vision for this sector must be to make it the #1 eco-destination in this part of the region. We are not going to play second to none. We must unleash our collective power, our collective investment to make it the #1. Nothing, second to nothing. And that is what we are going to work towards. So the vision is very clear. We have something that is going naturally for us now, and that is the level of visibility of Guyana because of oil and gas. Guyana's visibility on the international stage is extraordinary.
President Ali also highlighted the need for increased product differentiation. He said that the government will formulate ways to make Guyanese products more viable so that they can become more competitive on the international market. The head of state reiterated the government's commitment to ensuring economic progress and social development, respect for human and political rights, and freedom of expression. Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali made this statement during his virtual address to the United States Summit for Democracy on Friday.
Democratic enhancement and renewal, therefore, require global effort, one that takes full account of the multi-dimensional aspects of democracy, including the provision of conditions for economic progress.
President Ali reminded heads of states of the 5-month-long electoral impasse that engulfed the country following the March 2, 2020 general and regional elections, which he noted delayed and almost denied democracy.
It was only the vigilance of the Guyanese people, supported by a watchful international community, that prevented Guyana from being plunged into a dictatorship with all its disastrous consequences.
The president stressed his administration's determination to strengthen the pillars of democracy, ensuring voters enjoy free, fair, and transparent elections. The government is also devoted to the ambition of empowering prosperity for every Guyanese.
We are aware that adherence to democracy and the rule of law must be aligned with economic and social progress in conditions of non-discrimination, equity, and equal opportunities.
President Ali emphasized that dictatorships can become pandemics and infect political processes globally, especially in vulnerable countries. President Ali met with an executive team from Intercorp, a conglomerate of multinational Peruvian companies that covers 4 main industries: financial services, retail, education, and healthcare. The president was joined by Minister of Education, the Honorable Priya Manikchan, for the meeting at State House. President Ali's meeting with the group is a follow-up from initial talks from a sideline discussion during his visit to New York for the United Nations General Assembly in September. On Saturday, the president fulfilled a promise he made as housing minister prior to 2015. He commissioned a water treatment plant in Sheet Anchor, East Kanji, Berbice. Senior Communication Officer Kimal King tells us more.
The president had initiated the project in 2013, back when he was Minister of Housing, to respond to complaints from residents about the quality of piped water. Today, over 14,000 residents from multiple Region 6 communities benefit from treated water from this plant, which meets the standards of the World Health Organization on drinking water quality.
There is a reason why water is a fundamental right. It's cut across every barrier, social, political, all these barriers it cut across, because it is an important ingredient for life itself.
This has been the President's Diary, where we took a look at His Excellency Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali's week of activities. Thank you for watching, and do join us again next week.